everybody. Welcome today to our podcast, GlazzGuys. It's hosted on our YouTube channel. And if you haven't subscribed yet, we'd love for you to subscribe, share, comment, like. But today, we have a guest for a customer of My Architectural Glass. Husband and wife had come in. We're interested in getting some glass work for their new build here in Naples. And while we were in our showroom talking, a gentleman wanted a bottle of water or maybe use the bathroom. We came in the back and saw our podcast studio and was extremely intrigued. And he had mentioned to me that his son was eventually taking over his business and running a big part of his business up north. And he was going to be using social media, and they were interested in starting a podcast. So we said, what the hell? Why don't we bring him in today? And his name is Dylan from
Pittsburgh.
And the name of the company?
Arc Basement Services.
What do you guys do at Arc Basement Services?
Yeah, so it's waterproofing. So you don't have basements in Florida. So we're waterproofing basements. It's structural stuff. The biggest thing is the weather and the hills and valleys up there. You're gonna have water coming in your basement and pretty much just getting it out, like as simple as it gets.
When would you say is the busiest? Like down in Florida, we have busy seasons, right? Is it typically right after winter when all the snow's melting,
right,
or rainy season? When's your busy season?
Yeah, so I mean that's a good question. A lot of times it is when it's raining in the summer, in the spring, but in the fall and the winter, it's growing and expanding the heat. So your foundation's moving, it's cracking and different stuff like that. So that's when the water is getting in. So spring and fall is a big time, but also when it's raining the most in the summer. You also have ice melting in the winter. So hopefully all good time, December, January, February, slow, figuring out things to do and whatnot. So
what do you do during the slow time?
That's actually a great question. So last week we're actually in a meeting kind of like this, and we're trying to figure that out as we speak. What can we do to bring to the table when we're slow? If it's a different part of the business, like what vertical are we going to go? So trying to figure that out right now.
Yeah, because one of the biggest killers in companies is turnover. And I have to imagine if you're not able to keep your guys busy for a lengthy period of time, they start to get, what are we doing here? We're not growing. Maybe they start looking for another job, and that would be a problem.
100%. You can only wash the truck so many times a week.
Exactly right.
To do.
So it's incumbent upon us as owners and high-level earners to farm new opportunities.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the social media has really helped for us at My Architectural Glass is constant branding. Even though I'm not talking about glass all the time, I'm keeping myself relevant by being on social media. And as we all know, I get a lot of people to say to us, well, I'm not in the glass business. I'm a banker, so I don't know if social media will work for me. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
The social media is used to build rapport, almost innocuous. People will start to understand who you are based on the content in which that you put out.
Yeah.
Are you guys currently using social media?
Yeah, so we just kind of got on. So my dad, he's 50. So ran the business for a long time. Amazing guy, amazing owner.
He's in good shape, by the way.
Yeah, loves the
Your
gym.
dad's an ass kicker.
Yeah, well, he probably looks in the mirror 30 times a day. But
I do too. Vanity is one of the 7 deadly sins, man.
Yeah, well, but so I kind of I'm like the younger one in the company now. I'm 21, so I'm trying to get into the social media part of it. I'm trying to learn. A lot of the reason I'm here today, because you do such a great job. I follow your socials, but I think that is the biggest thing. Like, how do I maximize the unsexiness of basement water? Like, I'm sure a lot of people watching this, like the mold, like no one knows what's in your basement. No one wants to go down in your basement, right? So how do I bring that to, a wide variety of people?
I think educating them through modern technology, meaning Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, educating them with an entertainment value, meaning you're repackaging reels and shorts that are current. Like, for instance, one thing that I do every day, first thing I do in the morning when I get up and I'm doing my business in the bathroom, I'm going through what's trending. And so we already know that there is a segment of social media content that is trending that the masses are watching. And what I'll usually do is identify 2 or 3 of them that I feel like I could repackage around our business.
Sure.
Because I know the likelihood of that going off is much higher because it's already trending.
Right.
And I think people can assimilate. Nobody wants to hear a dissertation on waterproofing a basement 4 times a day, 5 days a week.
Agreed.
You're better off creating content that is maybe humor or educational, that speaks more to your personality and the culture within the business.
Sure.
And then people are like, wow, this is intriguing. This kid seems sharp. What does he do? And they click on your, oh, he does basement waterproofing. My basement's leaking like a motherfucker. I got to pump the water out every spring. I would actively start posting every day.
Yeah.
In that particular, and in particular, if you're not on it already, I would get on LinkedIn.
That's the big one. And I don't have any idea about LinkedIn. I feel like, you know, being 21, you talk about it a little bit in college, and we'll get into the college thing later, but I don't know a lot about LinkedIn. Is it like hiring people? You got to give me, if you give me a 30-second spiel on LinkedIn.
I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
When LinkedIn first came out, it was primarily for job postings and resumes.
Right. Okay.
So if you're a business owner and you're looking for staff, you could put a job posting. Conversely, if you're just coming out of college and you're looking for a job, you could post your resume. And this is kind of where the two worlds collide. About 8 years ago, they started a news feed. Just like every other social media platform that you start scrolling through, there's just all the random posts. And people started creating content, whether it was selfie videos, pictures, or just articles, like not a vlog, but you know, a script that you would just type out. But LinkedIn, in my opinion, is primarily comprised of working class business owner decision makers. It doesn't have all the hand wringing and stuff like Facebook. You know, I'm going out to dinner, or Sally just got engaged. You don't see that on, it's business oriented stuff.
Okay.
However, it can kind of be dry. It would be equivalent to reading a newspaper. Okay. It can be kind of dry. Where I've kind of captured a huge audience on LinkedIn is I take my Instagram reels or TikTok reels or Facebook reels and I screen record them or download them, and then I upload it onto LinkedIn.
Okay.
And it sticks out like a sore thumb. And I've had a lot of people, I mean, thousands of people over the years tell me it's refreshing to see your content on LinkedIn because it's not stuffy. It's not just a State of the Union address on your business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It kind of has an entertainment value to it. And there's neurological benefits to that. I found, I had a mentor, and he would tell me things like, customers are 6 times more likely to buy from you if they like you.
Right.
I think I told you this the other day.
Yeah.
I can't control if you like me, but I can control if I'm likable. And so if you're posting content every day that's digestible, maybe it's funny, it's humorous, people will start to like you, which is the quick way of doing business with you.
Yeah.
Because if they like you, they'll eventually do business with you.
100%. Seeing you all the time.
Yeah. And showcasing. Now, the other thing is I like to show all of our guys doing installs. Because when other people see that, they're like, shit, I want to work for Dylan. It looks like they got good culture. They're progressive because they're highlighting, you know, we're craftsmen. You're craftsmen. You guys you're constructing, you're building, you're fixing.
Yeah.
That's kind of a lost art right now. You know, most people your age aren't getting into the trades. I think there's a statistic for every 5 that are retiring, only 1's getting back into the market.
I believe it.
Now, that's a good thing for you and I, because now there's going to be a supply and demand issue. So if there's 1 million people that want basement remodel or waterproofing, but now there's only 2 people that do it, you could start raising, you know, anytime there's a supply and demand in your favor, prices have a tendency to go up. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But they're never going to hire you if they don't know you exist.
Right.
Also, having people come beg to work for you because of the content that you're putting out and they see that, that's also another, it's an HR thing, you know, recruiting, what have you. Never mind all the other stuff that comes out of it. So that's just the business side. Once you're getting into it, people start seeing you different as a high-level professional. You could be the best basement waterproofer in the industry. Yeah. What state are you in again?
Pittsburgh. So Pennsylvania and Ohio. Yeah.
You guys could be, and maybe you are, the best company for that niche. But once you're getting on social media, it amplifies that to the point where they're wanting you to speak at your national conferences. You know, people are inviting you on their podcast. People want to come on your podcast. You just become a lot more relevant.
Yeah.
It's so I can't think of one reason. I dare anybody tell me a bad reason for going on social media. I've yet to see it.
Yeah.
But it's important to be creating, not just consuming.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think the only thing that you get scared about, and one thing that I kind of live by right now that I've learned is, like, good on social media. It sounds simple, but people are like, okay, but how do I do that? And then they look at the door the whole time, and they're scared to just go through it.
Fear.
Yeah, 100%. And what are my buddies going to say? Or am I going to get chirped by my friends? And that's a big thing in our day and age.
Okay.
Especially being 21.
Yes, let's unpack that.
Yeah.
So I've only been on 7 years. Okay. I was late to the party too. I got on 7 years ago. And I was extremely uncomfortable if we were buddies and I was out somewhere and I realized, oh my God, this is a perfect social media post. There's a new construction builder behind me.
Yeah.
I want to do a selfie post now. I wouldn't do it because I was worried that they were going to chirp, make fun of me. And they did. My closest circle of friends, oh, here we go. Here's fucking Kim Kardashian again, thinking he's got to do a TikTok.
Right.
But I kept doing it. And I kept doing it. Now those same people are wanting to ride on my coattails because I've been invited to, I can't tell you how many different events or functions, paid to go to these things for nothing. And so it's opened up so many doors. Fear is the overriding factor for all decision making.
100%.
And it's easy to say this, but nobody doing better than you on social media will ever make fun of you.
Couldn't have said it better.
The only people that are going to chirp and make fun are the ones that aren't doing it. Because they're like,
100%.
Where's this going to go? What do you think? It's a long game play.
Yeah.
It'll take you a year or two before anybody even realizes who the fuck you are.
Yeah.
But once you have that, then it's sky's the limit. And then you'll start to see the switch in the attitude from the chirping and what have you.
100%. Yeah, and that's where, because like we talked about earlier, I played baseball, Division I baseball.
Where did you play?
At Monmouth. It was in West Long Branch. And I got injured, didn't play. So I kind of switched it to business, whatever. Long story short, got here. And I made this video on my Instagram when I was getting into it. And I said, hey, my name's Dylan. I'm a Division I baseball player. And I just dropped out because I wanted to catch the phrase drop out. Essentially, whatever. Dropped out and now I'm making it in the business world. And I look and like it was like 50 shares. Like people are just sharing it to their friend. I'm like, oh God, what are they saying? You know, because I was like, I'm nervous. I went to bed that night after I uploaded that video and I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I just do? You know,
that was a big step.
Yeah, and that's why I'm a big believer. Jump and figure out how to land on the way down. Like seriously, that's the biggest thing. So I uploaded that video. I'm scared they're gonna chirp. Yeah, I still hear some chirps every once in a while. But I think exactly what you said. My inner circle was so tight and so tight knitted that they want the best for me. And I've had people like with your platform and other people who've done really well, and all they say is, "Dude, that's awesome. Like I love what you're doing."
100%.
Like I've never had someone more successful than me saying, "Dude, what are you doing?" They're all like,
"They
Dude,
won't.
Here's how I did it." You know?
Yep.
And so I'm a big believer in just having a tight knit circle, and I don't even hear it anymore. I don't hear any of the noise or anything like that. You know what I mean? So.
That's good for you. I'm glad that you did that. That's a big step doing that first one like that, especially a selfie video being very vulnerable, authentic.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many takes did it take you to do it?
A bunch, because then I watched it back. I'm like, dude, I'm an idiot. I sound like an idiot. You know what I mean? And then like, where do I look at? Like, do I look in the camera? And there's just so many nuances that go into it but you learn as you go. And I think that's the biggest thing. If there's anybody that watching and I could even shed a little bit of a message, you learn as you go. And the big thing you said about this podcast room, this is your third time setting it up. Like everybody's like, I have the perfect thing here and the perfect thing here to do this. Like, dude, just
it's never going to be perfect because it's always going to,
yes.
As you do it, you're going to want to get better. What is it? The old 10,000 hour rule.
Yeah.
You need to be doing something at least 10,000 hours.
Adapt, and humans adapt. So you'll figure it out. You know what I mean?
I'm sure when you first started swinging a baseball bat, it wasn't Babe Ruth.
No.
It took you years and years
100%.
in practice.
I still never got to Babe Ruth, but trust me. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. You know, just figure it out as you go. Learn as you go. Especially like being 21, get out of college. Like I have no idea what I'm doing. I shared that in the video. I'm like, guys, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm gonna figure it out. You know what I mean? And that's the biggest thing. Just figure it out.
You're very ambitious.
100%. And that's why, like, the podcast today, I was telling you earlier, I'm blessed to be on here. I'm super thankful for you having me.
Oh, my God.
And my dad setting it up. But I get to learn from a CEO who does it the right way. Like, how do you interact with your employees? Like lunch at 1. Like, I hear stuff like that. You know, I'm trying to learn, like, how you do different things. What's your culture in here and stuff like that. And I think it's so cool. And one of the things I kind of want to ask you earlier when I was coming on is like, how did you get in the business? I know, like, I see a lot of your glass stuff, but like, what kind of, you know, lit the fire for you?
This is a really interesting story, and I don't get to tell it very often, so I'm happy that you asked this. When I was 12 years old, so it's myself and I have a brother who's 4 years younger than me.
Okay.
When I was 12, so he would have been 8, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's non-lymphoma cancer. We were living up in Western Massachusetts, and my father was a professional hockey referee, and my mother was a neighborhood beautician. She cut everybody's hair in our basement. And by no means were they were not making any, they had enough money to keep a roof over our head and feed us, but that was it. You know, they shared a car, very blue collar. And then when I was diagnosed with cancer, it was crippling to them. They're like, they didn't have insurance.
Yeah.
And they were forced to start a business. My mother and father took the equity out of their home and they started a home service business. At the time, it was closet shelving, and then it morphed into closet shelving, shower doors. Again, this is up in Massachusetts. And so a year after doing that, they were able to garner enough money to put me in a Boston Children's Hospital. I ended up going into remission. 5 years later, cancer's gone. And I tell people, me getting cancer was the best thing that ever happened to me and my family.
Wow.
Because my brother and I ended up growing up now in an entrepreneurial family. Like, they wouldn't have started the business if I hadn't contracted or, you know, been diagnosed with the cancer.
Yeah.
And so then you fast forward, you know, 12, 15, 20 years later, we ended up, there was other circumstances that happened, but we ended up moving to Florida, and they sold all their business, and my brother and I wanted to start our own business kind of based on what we learned while we were growing up, but we wanted to put our own spin on it, and that's when we started My Shower Door, and then this business here was just kind of an offshoot of that. But our business in the beginning all started off of a tragedy. It was a true blessing in disguise.
That's nuts.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
The most important thing to our businesses as owners is our people. The culture is number one. Customer service is extremely important, and that is a very close number two. But if you do not take care of your people, you will have no business. And I always tell anybody that comes in here, you know, your best ability is availability. And so if I say that, I have to preach it. There's a lot of owners that have started good businesses, but they're absentee owners. Like, they get a main guy that runs it, and then they start backing away and trying other things or golfing and doing whatever the fuck they do. I feel that we hardly have any turnover here because we're always active in the business. So I will never ask an employee to do something I'm not willing to do. That said, there's fucking nothing I'm not willing to do. I'll clean, you know, we had a water damage the other day. I'll clean the toilets. I'll do everything. I don't necessarily always do everything, but I'm willing to do everything. And I'm here every day. And I think it's important as leaders to showcase that because you lead through example.
100%.
You know, there's different leadership styles, but that's the one that's worked for me. A mentor told me, and I hear this a lot, and maybe you've heard this. I've been in a lot of business functions where a business owner will come to me and say, man, I can't find anybody right now. You know, it's hard to find laborers or anyone come work for us. And I'd like to just find somebody that works like we do. And I say to them, you know, respectfully, are you going to pay that person the same amount that they're paying you? And they're like, well, no, I'm the owner. I said, why the fuck do you think they're going to work as hard as you do? And so setting a level of expectations of what your employees are doing for work is important, and not over setting your expectations so high that they're unachievable, because then they get burnt out and they'll want to quit.
100%.
But at the same token, I want to show them that I'm willing to work hard and provide a vision and, you know, a roadmap for success for them. And we do that through leadership. I always tell people, I work for you. You don't work for me.
I love that.
And that goes, Jack Welch was one of the most famous CEOs of all time from GE. He's since passed away, but he's got a book named Winning, and he kind of goes into explain that. The modern day version of that guy is, you know, Gary Vee. I love Gary. Gary Vee is the one that kind of inspired me to even get on social media. And he preaches this as well. He tells his employees, you do not work for me, I work for you. You need anything, I want to give you all the tools and support for you to thrive. I take all the problems, you get all the success. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we're getting the equity in the business. We're getting the big paycheck.
Yeah.
We don't need to go around and flex to everybody that I did this, I did
Right.
this.
Yeah.
It's not going to promote them to do more.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing for people to do. I've had this conversation with other business. No, I don't work for them. They fucking work for me.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you have a lot of turnover.
Right.
That's why you can't find anybody to come. That's why you're saying you can't find anybody to come work for you now.
Yeah.
And that's a big mindset. You know, if you could get into that mindset, I have a feeling it would do you well in the future. People will respect you. People want to work for you. They're going to tell their friends how their boss is, so they're going to want to come work for you.
Yeah.
It spreads fast.
Yeah. I kind of got blessed with an awesome team too. And just joining the business, I joined back in April. My father's company that we're talking about. I got blessed and not to go into the individual detail of it, but just an awesome team. Like just people that like I got a mother figure almost, older lady, Michelle, and she keeps me in line. But then I have the younger guys too. It's exactly what you said. If I have to go dig a hole, then I'll go dig a hole. But if I also have to try to sell a job, I'll sell a job. And you, in a selfish way, you feel better about yourself too. You know, because I know I'm boots on the ground, and I know like, and I read this one book, and it was like all the super successful CEOs say oh, I couldn't do it without my team. Like they give everything to their team, and it's true.
It's 100% true.
You know, like they do use the word luck. I don't know how I feel about the word luck, but they're like, yeah, without my team, I couldn't do it. You know what I mean?
I feel like you create luck through hard work.
Sure.
The harder you work, the more it's like the universe just pays it back to you. You know you're doing the right thing. So you call it luck. I call it hard work. More opportunities present themselves when you're grinding and you're doing the right thing.
Right.
It always comes back to you. You mentioned baseball real quick. What did you do for baseball? You obviously did Little League like the rest of us, and then went all the way up.
Grew up playing it. Came from a baseball family. My brother got drafted 2019. Like I did the whole shebang. Like played Division I, played junior college. Like it was my life, literally my life. Like I thought if I was sitting in a chair talking about business, that would have been crazy. Like you couldn't tell me I was doing this 2 years ago.
2 years ago, you thought I'm gonna keep playing so I could go pro.
Yeah, 6 months ago, and then literally probably 6 months ago, and then I still have elbow pain now. Like I just messed up my elbow and just kind of fell out of love with it. Crazy, but yeah.
Okay, so you're not depressed that you're not going down that path anymore, or are you still?
I don't miss it. It's the most wild thing ever. Like my mom asks me every day, "Hey, do you miss playing?" No, I don't. You know, and I think the tall tale is like my brother is still watching baseball. Hey, do you watch the Pirates play? Like the score? Like no, I haven't watched any of it. You know what I mean? I'm obsessed with like studying successful people. That's like my new thing. I love like I don't know.
I love that you're obsessed. If you're going to be successful, you have to be obsessed.
Like yeah, there was a Van Gogh quote. It's like I become obsessed because he got so lost in his art that he didn't even like. That's how I feel. Like in my office, I have like, and my dad was telling me, I have faces all around just successful. The first 4 minute mile because like I'm just lost in the process, and it's not even to become successful. It's just I just love this version of myself. You know, I'm obsessed with how I feel now.
That's cool. I hope that stays with you forever. I feel like that. I've had many people in my circus. God, you work too much. You should take vacation. You go on vacation because it's fun. This is fun to me.
100%.
I don't want to do anything else.
Couldn't have said it better.
I want to operate the business. I want to invent. I want to build. I want to be successful.
Yeah, 100%.
And I like the chase. I love the chase.
Yeah, obsessed with the chase.
I want to talk. I want to ask your opinion on something about baseball because Jay and I just talked about this yesterday. Did you happen to catch any of the Little League World Series?
A little bit. I mean, I saw a little bit of the last international game. A little bit. So you might have to fill me in a little bit on
Okay, the finals. It was a team from Florida,
right?
Which, by the way, is first ever team to win the Little League World Series from Florida.
Okay.
Florida was playing. I think it was like Chinese Taipei or something.
It was, okay.
In the finals.
Sure.
And they were down. Maybe they were up, and it ended up going to extra innings.
Wow. Okay.
And I believe in Little League, and maybe even the pros when they went to extra, they put a runner on second.
Sure.
USA's got a runner on second, and tie game, and he bunts down the first base line. Pitcher comes in, first baseman comes in to get the ball, so there's a lack of communication there. And pitcher grabs the ball and throws it to first. There's no one there. Ball goes in the outfield. Runner comes around. I get chills. USA wins.
Yeah.
Florida wins. But this what blew me away, and I'm curious to hear your opinion on this. When Florida won, typically, every team that would win a championship, World Series, what have you, just automatically magnet, celebration, balls, right? Yeah. These kids, the Chinese Taipei, were crushed. They were on their knees crying like little babies. And all the kids from Florida went over and they were like consoling, like, man, it was chilling to watch. It was almost like out of a movie.
Yeah.
But I had a hard time wrapping my brain around that because I know when I played Little League, I played in a Little League World Series, not that far along, you know, just the regional portions. I would have killed to win a game just to watch the other team sit and cry.
Sure.
And there was no way in hell that I would have went over there and said, don't worry, you played good. That just wasn't in my DNA. I was extremely competitive. Well, how do you feel about that?
I think it comes, and I'm going to tie this into everything we're talking about.
Okay.
The brand. What is the brand of the Little League World Series? It's baseball, but it's also love, and anybody can do it, and anybody's possible. Anything's possible. So I think these little kids the whole week are hearing about being a good person. They're watching other players do it, sign jerseys, be friends with the opponent. So I think it wasn't their human nature that kicked in. It was what they were taught. I think if it was just like boys in the backyard, they're dogpiling. But I think live TV, they know what's going on, the brand of it. They probably have a meeting before they even get there about sportsmanship, and the coaches are mic'd up. Like, I just think that it was so...
That's well said.
Yeah. Not in a messed up way. Like, I think it's awesome. But when you have little kids watching and they're being told good sportsmanship the whole week, then the brand is to go pick up someone, even if they didn't want to. So... I think it goes into the brand a little.
That's actually well said. Almost makes me feel bad for taking the stance that I did. I think it was a good look for USA Little League Baseball to do that.
Yeah.
It's just not in me.
It's not me either, I wouldn't say.
I couldn't do it. I would be, I mean, maybe if I saw all my other teammates, I would have did it, but I want to win.
Yeah.
You know, there's an old, this is a fun question. If you were to compete one-on-one with somebody, so you and I are playing chess or we're playing pickleball.
Yeah.
Do you prefer the thrill of a victory, or do you prefer watching my agony of defeat because of your victory?
Wow.
I'll give you my answer first.
I feel messed up either way I respond.
I thrive on, if you and I were to go play pickleball right now, I want to win.
Yeah.
And I want to win so much, I want to see you crushed.
Yeah.
Now, I want to...
wonder where that stems from, though.
I want to also say for the camera, that doesn't mean I don't respect you.
Sure.
I'm just talking in the competitive environment. The second we walk out the field, absolutely, I'll shake your hand. You know, great match. But there's something inside of me that...
Wonder where that's from.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Maybe fighting. I've always been a fighter.
Okay.
Having to fight, you know, going through the cancer and everything. Always kind of just... There wasn't really anybody there when I was in the hospital. Just myself, maybe. Maybe thinking I wasn't good enough. I always having to overachieve. I don't know where it comes from.
Yeah.
But the competitive nature, I know my mother has that. My father's more, he's a competitor as well, but he would be more on the side of the Florida kid, you know, being very respectful and gentlemanlike.
Yeah.
Where my mother's more of a killer, like an assassin.
Yeah. That's kind of badass.
I didn't know that I get that from her. So I do have both sides of it, but I would prefer watching the agony defeat because of my victory.
For me, it's not seeing you like down crying. It would be more so the idea of like I'll outsmart you. Like I would get off more on like the fact that like I'm low key smarter than you in my head, you know?
Respect.
Like, not that I'm seeing you type of way, but like in the back of my mind, like, dude, I just outsmarted this guy.
Yeah,
you know,
that's smart. I mean, I think that's a good character to have.
Yeah,
because you're not going to be hated by a lot of people because of that.
But I don't know if it's growing up in Pittsburgh, because I grew up in Pittsburgh, moved to Florida, long story short, but I talk a lot of shit when I play anything. I'm a shit talker, and not in a messed up way, but I'm just chirping the whole time. Like I love that. Yeah, but I'm not even listening or doing it towards a person. It's just like that's my thing. Like if we were to sit down and play chess right now, I'm just gonna chirp, not chess, but like let's go play one-on-one basketball. I'm definitely shit talking the whole time. I don't know if it's growing up in Pittsburgh.
It could be a northeast thing because I'm the same way. Larry Bird was the same way.
I love it. I love it.
I think it's part of the game.
Yeah, and not even to make you feel bad. It just gets me going. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I probably get hated for it. Like when you're growing up playing. tag football. I'm a little kid, like, dude, like to say whatever, but yeah, I definitely chirp a little bit. I would say out of all our family, like my brother, sister, I'm definitely the most like outspoken shit talker, I'd say. Like,
Well, that's good.
There goes Dylan again. I feel like that's like the, you know.
It sounds like you should definitely be having a podcast to advocate your business and your personality.
Yeah, I would love it. I would love to do that. I mean, like I said, there's a lot that goes into it, kind of like you, but just jump and go for it.
Tell me one of the biggest struggles that you're having with your newfound position at the company. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, we get thrown shit at us every day.
Yeah.
Is it sales? Is it managing the people? Is it bringing in new opportunities?
I would say there's a bunch, but obviously figuring out what vertical to grow in, whether it's geography, growing to a different place, a different item, whatever. But I think what I struggle with right now, and this is gonna be immature because I'm young, but some days you come in and you don't know what to do. Like, there's not that nagging customer, you know, the phones aren't ringing like crazy, and you just don't know. I mean, you probably don't relate to that. Do you ever feel like that?
No. Yes.
Like, what do I do today?
Brother, we're going through it right now because we well, this month, no, but last month we were going through that. You know, we have this cycle where we're getting all this business coming in. Things are going great. And then all of a sudden it's like, you know, a month goes by and we're like, holy shit, where did all the sales go?
Yeah.
Now, it would be easy to say, geez, maybe we just got to go get another location, or we need to, let's do another thing.
What you're talking about is literally like what we're going through right now.
I would tell you one of our biggest successes, especially in the business next door, my shower door, and here, there's a massive benefit from being a niche business. So like you specialize in waterproofing basements. The second you start adding a bunch of, like, well, now we're going to be a full basement remodeler, or maybe we'll do waterproofing of roofs now, or whatever other vertical thing you want to do, you start watering down what you're really good at, like what brought you to the table in the first place.
Okay.
And so a lot of people, as soon as they get slow, they'll say, well, geez, we got to do something else.
Yeah.
And now you're not paying nearly as much attention to that one thing. You're only putting 50% attention there, 50% into this other thing. Neither one of those things are now getting 100% of your effort.
Yeah.
Well, how good could that, if you were playing Division I baseball?
You can't fill a bunch of groups. But here's what I would offer to you, and just a question, and something that me and my dad talk about a lot. So the phones are slowing down. But you have this glass inventory. But you keep paying the bills to get the manufacturer, to get the laborers. But you don't see, how do you deal with that when you see the business account almost? And maybe you don't deal with this. I would love to. When you see the business account not where it should be, and then the phones aren't ringing, but you still have all this glass, and you got to pay this guy and this guy and this guy, but you're just not getting the calls to put the glass in.
This happens on a regular basis. No, when I say regular, if we take it over the course of a year, I go through this like depression stage, probably 3 or 4 times a year.
Right.
It might only, if I go 3 days without getting a sale, now I start to get some anxiety.
That's how yep.
Now, my counterpart, Jason, that works here with me, he's got a different personality than me. He's more calm, cool, collected, logical. He says, okay, let's start looking at all the jobs that we priced. We haven't heard back. Let's start doing some follow-up. Let's produce some more content. What else can we do? Let's start going out on farming work. So we start looking for new construction sites. We're leaving cards. We're shaking hands. Contact. You know what the difference between a contact and a contract is?
No.
An R. Contact and contract. The only difference is an R, and the R stands for relationships. And the more relationships you have, the more likely you are to turn that contact into contracts.
Love that.
The social media is allowing us to get a lot more contacts, to put ourselves out there. We're inviting more builders onto our podcasts and having these conversations with them in hopes that we can then do their business.
Right.
We've built up a huge, back in the day they used to call it a Rolodex. We have a huge, massive Rolodex of contacts.
Right.
So anytime I start going down in business, I'll start calling all my top 20 customers. Hey, I'm just checking in. Is there anything going on? And before you know it, one of them's like, oh my God, I can't believe you called me. I've been meaning to call you. This thing's sitting on my desk. And now that job comes in. Another one. And then before you know it, the phone starts ringing. Depression gone.
Yeah.
So, I think it's good to go through those because you will operate at your best when your back is pushed up against the wall.
Amen.
Every single time.
Magic happens there.
Yes. So I wouldn't look at it as a deterrent. I'm not saying I hope your phone doesn't ring, but typically when it's not ringing and you're in that little bit of a lull, that's when you, as an owner, have to, strap on the boots and think outside the box.
Yeah, 100%. I think going back to that video I made too about dropping out from college baseball, and I just wanted to feel that, like my back up against the wall, and I absolutely ate it up. Like that's what, and as sick as that sounds, I'll probably do it again and again and again and again and again. Hope.
There's a book called The Rise of Superman. The guy's name is Stephen Kotler. And basically, to summarize that book, what he was able to identify is human beings can only perform, like X game athletes and all these other ones that are doing stuff that had never been done before. They can only perform at this high level when they're outside of their comfort zone. And there's kind of like this pie chart or graph chart that shows, you're 4 or 5% outside.
Sure.
My parents are a perfect example. He was refereeing, mom was cutting hair. They were paying the bills. They were comfortable.
Yeah.
Their son gets cancer. And now, we don't even have money to, holy shit, our back's against the wall. What can we do? Let's leverage our house. Let's start a business. Boom, now here we are. So your back against the wall is a good thing. It's just how you react when, because some people, it'll cripple them. The cortisol, the depression can almost stifle the growth.
Yeah.
But if you can learn to embrace it, I could give you 4 examples right now as we sit here that on the face would be catastrophic for most businesses, and they ended up being the best things. The first one was, the cancer was one. In 2008, there was a huge, massive market crash here across the country.
Sure.
And businesses were going dormant here in Southwest Florida, and I'm sure everywhere else. Luckily, we were very conservative leading up to 2008, so we were hoarding all of our money. We were saving we weren't leveraging it out and buying the boats and the houses. We put all the money in the business. Right. So the economy takes a dump. All of our competitors weren't as conservative financially as we were. So the demand of shower glass dropped, and the amount of people that were doing shower glass fell off the map because the people that weren't conservative financially went out of business.
Right.
It ended up being the best thing that ever happened to us because we still had the money to keep all of our staff still doing it. People were still buying shower doors. They just weren't buying as much, but there wasn't as many people doing it. So we were able to garner a bigger market share.
Yeah.
So on the face, oh shit, it's a recession, the greatest recession since the Great Depression. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? It was the best thing that ever happened to us. COVID. That was a scary time. People were coughing, and the customers were like, holy shit, get the hell out of my house. And it was just a weird time. We didn't know how to do business.
Yeah.
We sent everybody home for 45 days. We paid for everything.
Wow.
That was a huge nut.
That's huge.
We got 192 employees. We paid insurance, retirement, like they were working, except they were at home. And they're like, why would you do that? Well, when they came back after the 45 days, the kind of dust kind of settled, and we were thinking maybe this isn't as bad as what their media is making it out to be.
Yeah.
They were so appreciative that they weren't having to worry about paying their bills or living. Not only was the worker appreciative, but their spouses were. And when we came back after the 45 days, there's employees that would run through fire for us right now. And so the level of work was way up than where it was prior to COVID. So I've been not looking forward to disasters and problems within the economy, but I also know on the backside of that is something good as long as we can kind of keep our shit together to get through that portion.
Yeah. And I mean, I got a bazillion questions, but one of them was you're kind of like the supplier for yourself too. Or you make how did you get into that? Because that's where I would want to go eventually. That's another vertical, I would say, right? If we can manufacture our products that go into the home itself, that has to create a bunch of doors too.
That was, aside from being a massive flex for us on the sales side, it was huge because we control our own destiny. When we were starting the shower door business, we were in it for about 10 years, and we realized that we were buying a lot of glass. A big hurricane was coming here, and I didn't know what a hurricane was. I had moved, and what's a hurricane? I've been nor'easters and stuff. How bad could this be? So it was bad.
Yeah.
the people that we were buying our tempered glass from said, hey, listen, hurricane's coming. We have a private plane. We were buying glass out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. They said, we're going to fly down and pick you up and bring you up here and tour our factory. You've never seen how the glass is made, and it'll get your family out of the hurricane zone. We're like, okay. So we went up and we saw the factory. We came back down 3 days later. My brother says, these guys have a private plane. They have a glass manufacturing facility, but they don't have the retail like we have.
Right.
And we are buying enough glass from them that I believe, I'm speaking in my brother's words here,
Yeah.
I believe the amount of money that we're paying for glass that we could justify buying our own machinery and it'll pay for itself. The benefit from that is that's another stream of revenue that's attached to that.
Sure.
But more importantly, we're able to offer better service to our customers because our lead times got condensed.
Yeah.
We got to control the quality. Now,
Right.
that's easy to say. Learning manufacturing
Well,
was
that's
a
what
big
yeah.
fucking...
Yeah, that's what
we
I was
almost
about to
ruined the
say.
whole business.
Yeah.
We had a lot of turnover. We knew nothing about machinery.
Yeah.
My brother, that was my brother's baby, and he did a very good job getting it all operational. We had some struggles. We had a mentor that kind of coached us
Right.
through that. And then we made one really good hire, Bryce Holbert, and kind of helped change the culture within the manufacturing. Manufacturing is completely different than retail sales or installation.
Yeah.
It's a whole nother animal. Cash flow is different.
Right.
Retention of employees different. Maintenance on machines different. But when builders started finding out that we were making our own stuff, it gave us a huge advantage over
Yeah.
our competitors.
Yeah.
Because even when there's a problem, everybody's going to have problems. Shower didn't fit, cracked the tile. Who can fix it the quickest? Well, it's the person that can make their own glass.
Yeah.
And,
badass.
and then one of the offshoots of that is all of our competitors wanted to start buying from us because they were hearing about our quality. So it was a really weird dynamic. We wanted to do manufacturing just for ourselves,
Right.
but once they got good at it, we needed more work. We weren't able to feed the factory enough to keep everybody really busy with just our own business. So then we started opening up the doors to our competitors, and probably 90% of them were like, shit, if it's good enough for my shower door, I want to buy it, and it's local, and
Yeah.
the local money stays in the local economy.
Brilliant.
And it just worked out really well. So we're on our 13th year of the manufacturing. I should give you a tour of the factory sometime.
Yeah, I would love that. I mean, because that's something I would love to get into. It's just like there's so much like how much, and I'm just saying jump and figure out how to land on the way down, but then how much money do you allocate just to start up a factory? On top of it, your brother, I'm not sure what his major is, but I probably wasn't glass engineering.
Not one of us in our family has a college. All of us have
Cheers,
graduated
because
from high school, and that's barely graduated from high school.
I have 1 year left. It's so funny. My dad was like the first one in our family to go to the college, and I dropped out before my senior year. So
What is, I'll tell you this. So I've been in business now down here 21 years. We have 11 stores. We have a manufacturing facility. We collectively do somewhere around $40 million. It's a big business.
yeah,
With all the people that I've talked to over the years, whether it's bankers, attorneys, customers, not one person has ever asked me, what is your college degree? So it begs the question, what the fuck is the good for it?
yeah.
Why
Yeah.
would you bury yourself in money if it, there's things obviously
Yeah,
to
like
learn.
we talked about the specialty jobs. And I'm 21. I'm not gonna sit here and say I have wisdom. I don't know. But for myself, if you have a specialty job, I believe go to college. Lawyer, doctor,
engineer.
dentist, whatever. But if you're going just for the atmosphere of college and stuff, dude, you're checked out. You're gonna expend between $120,000 to $200,000, assuming you get no scholarship, just to get a $40,000 job. You're just falling in right to the cattle of the rest of the world.
And it's going to be hard to get out of that.
Yeah.
If you took those same 4 years and put it into growing your business, your social media platforms, your network,
Right.
Your net worth is your network.
Yeah.
You will be I tell my kids this all the time. I'm not discouraging from going to school. I tell them to keep their
Sure.
options open. But if if both siblings were twins and one went to college, I'm just going to take my liberal arts degree and I want to go away to Tennessee and, I want to party and kind of get that lifestyle. And the other one gets in the trades.
Yeah.
In 4 years from that, there's going to be a world of difference, not only financially, but knowledge-wise.
Yeah. And I had a question too. So if you had someone show up to your business, knocked on the door and said, hey, I don't know anything about this job, but I just want to come learn and be in this job, would you hire them in the sense of, I heard this one CEO and he was like, I want to hire people that are so good at their job that I don't even have to check what they're doing. Like hire a professional here and here. Because he's like, if I have to hire someone to see my ass, I don't want to teach them anything like that. I want them to know what they're doing and come in and just do it. And they got this almost say to me, dude, you're not doing, you know what I'm saying? So where are you stand on that? Are you trying to teach people, or are you trying to hire someone that's just so skilled that, you know, an A worker? Because they say an A worker can do 5 people's jobs. I don't know. Where do you stand on that?
Okay, there's a lot to unpack with that.
Yeah.
It's hard to find what you're calling an A-level worker that's just going to walk. An A-level worker is typically not going to just knock on the door and say, will you hire me? Because he's probably already got a job.
Right.
If he's not owning his own business already. But would I hire a person like that? Absolutely. Somebody that's extremely ambitious and wants to grow and has a lot of the intangibles. The one thing that I look for the most in a new prospect, and we prefer to hire people that have no experience within our industry.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because it's a lot of times if they were groomed a different manner, it's hard to untrain and then train again, whether it's nomenclature, process, expectations. The biggest skill or attribute a new hire could have, for me personally, is coachability.
Okay.
A lot of people have so much pride that it hinders them from growing, whether it's like, I know how to do this or I can do it better than you.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to learn, a true learner, this is the quickest way to success. If they're willing to be a good listener, work the process, and obviously add their own little flair along the way, I think coachability is the biggest attribute a new hire could have in any industry, is coachability. If you're willing to be coachable, then you will grow faster than anybody else. Because there's not one person that's going to come in this door that hasn't been in this industry that can be a success overnight, because they don't know what to fucking do.
Right.
I know how to send an email, I know how to answer a phone, but they need to learn the nuances of the business. And it's not just the nuances of the business, it's a situational awareness around the business. You know, I'll give you an example. I know all the features and benefits of a wine cellar.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that till I'm blue in the face. But I become a lot more valuable to a customer when I tell them that, you know, don't forget, before you spend that 80 grand on this wine cellar, did you do the spray foam insulation in those back walls? Because the attic heat can come down into there and then it can affect the wine cellar. Now that has literally nothing to do with us.
Right.
But they see me more as a trusted advisor, because I'm situationally aware of not only my product, but everything surrounding the product. That just takes time.
Yeah.
I'm sure in your industry, there's a lot of little nuance. It's not 100%. Just water showing up through the porous concrete. There's a lot of nuance. It's the backfill. Did they put the crushed rock? Is the waterproofing on there? There's a lot of nuances. Maybe it was graded. The whole problem stemmed because of bad grading or excavating.
Yeah.
You know, you need to be able to know all those things.
Right.
And so the only way a new hire is going to learn that is they have to be willing to be coachable.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think coachability is the biggest benefit any new hire could have.
Yeah.
Well said. And also on a neurological level, if you seek out a mentor or a new boss and you ask him a question and he takes time to answer that question, and he sees that you don't take that advice or you do something opposite of that, that person's going to go dark on you. Conversely, if you go seek a mentor and you ask them a specific question and they take time to answer it, and then they see that you followed through with that and had success, you won't need to ask that person for mentorship anymore. They're going to be giving it to you because selfishly, they want to see you grow. Just like I said, nobody doing better than you is going to hate on you.
Right.
If you ask a mentor a piece of advice and they see that you listen to the advice, they're going to selfishly want to see you grow even more. So they're going to be giving you more advice. So anybody that's looking for a mentor, the biggest piece of advice I could say is, if you find somebody that you respect and you trust is going to give you good information you want to learn from, it's massively important that you take the advice immediately.
Right.
and do it. Because when they see you do that, they're going to be giving you a lot more advice. And then all the other things that come with that. Hey, I got some contacts for you. They're going to almost want to help grow your business for you. So there's a big benefit to getting a mentor.
Yeah, I love that.
To lean on and help. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
I've had people ask me stuff before, and I take time out of my day to answer it, and then I see that they're doing complete opposite. I'm like,
a jackass.
I'm done. I will not. I won't hate on them, but I won't take any more of the calls. I won't respond to any of the texts because I know it's a fucking waste of time.
It's almost like some people just want to ask. Is that? It's so weird.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It depends. The other thing is too. I have a social media platform. Some people just want to talk to say they talk to me.
Yeah.
And so they ask a question, and then I answer the question, and then I quickly realize you had no intentions of trying to learn or grow from that question. You just wanted to bullshit.
Yeah.
And to me, that was a waste of time.
Yeah.
And so I'll blackball that person. They're gone.
Yeah.
Done.
As you should, though. I mean, you don't.
It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Your time is everything.
Everything.
It's the one commodity. It's the most important commodity that we all have because it's limited.
That's why when we were asked to do this, or my dad, and we were talking about it, you had every right and say no, like you're busy. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you why I did.
Yeah.
I tell you why. Your father's very energetic. He's got a very infectious personality, almost like you could just tell he was like amped up and he was excited. He had no idea about any of this yet. They had actually got a quote from somebody. I think he said he was looking for a wine cellar. His builder said he could.
He was not. So first off, I hear your name in my house all the time now, for whatever reason that is. My dad loves you and what you stand for, whatever. But he had he had set with another company. I'm almost certain. Like he was set. He's like, I think he just walked in here for like.
To validate the other bit, to just make sure it was kosher.
I don't think you had much of a chance before you walked in.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
However, we still went through the process because they were professional and polite, and so was Christina, Jay, and myself. But I quickly realized when talking to him that he was a level-headed, smart individual, and what's that old saying? Game recognizes game.
Yeah.
We started talking, and then I think he said he had to use the bathroom. And so when he came back here, he saw the weights, he saw this.
He's eating it up.
He was eating it up, and we started having a good conversation, and he mentioned, I said, well, you should bring him by. That automatically changed the dynamic of when they first walked in here.
Yeah.
And now it's incumbent upon me to do what I say I'm going to do. If I say, bring your son by, if I didn't do this, it would go back to that mentor saying, fuck, you didn't do what you said you were going to do. Fuck you. But that's not the case.
Yeah.
And because the job's already sold, I will say there's not a question of a doubt in my mind that the product will be night and day different because I know the competitor.
Yeah.
And so I think he made the right decision. But you don't know what you don't know. He didn't know we existed.
Yeah.
It was just another name he had gotten along with the other one. So he said, let's just double check. And when he came in, we hit it off. And he's a good dude. I like him a lot. Got a lot of. He's a mover and shaker.
Yeah, no, he's great, and I think that's the biggest thing. He started a company 22 years ago, from the salesman. He's just purely so talented at talking and so seasoned that if I could be him, but also a true CEO, I think the sky's the limit, and I think that's where we can break. Yeah, and break barriers. I just don't want to be. And this is not anything knack on him. He is absolutely done it for 22 years.
It's your job to take it to the next level.
Yes, exactly right.
Our father, my brother and I's father, my father and mother built a phenomenal business.
100%.
And they made a legacy. But Doug and I wanted to have an opportunity to put our stamp on it. So it's incumbent upon us to take it to the... It's not do better than him. It's just take it to the next level.
100%.
And I'm sure, I'm 100% certain in all my being that your father would like to see you
1,000%.
Take the business to the next level.
Yeah, and he's given me absolutely every avenue. I try to go with him on leads, but he's so seasoned, at running leads and sales and stuff like that it's hard to even learn off him because he's so he does stuff so nonchalant that is so.
Well, he can get away with it because he's been doing it so long. He's got a very good read on.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and you'll get that.
Yeah, it's like poetry.
Yes.
Yeah, just understanding.
Sometimes it's only language. A little. It's like stealing signals when you're standing on second base. He only needs to see or hear one thing from a customer to know
100%.
what he needs to do to get the job.
100%, yeah.
I feel the same way. That just comes with years and years of doing it.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing he says, and to anybody out there that's getting into this industry, is almost like, you genuinely want to help that person.
Yes.
Genuinely want to help. Like every time we talk, like he's like, I'm not going in there to be an order taker. I'm going in there to genuinely try to help this person. And I think that's where we separate ourselves from competitors, being a family-owned business, because we're genuinely, like, if it's messed up and we have that lifetime warranty regardless, we're going to come out there and say, like, he's going to sit, like he said, when I first got in this, like, he's had tears. Sometimes you're praying with people. Sometimes they're crying. Like,
yes.
You know what I mean? It's
oh, yeah.
real. It's not just...
Oh, no.
You know what I mean?
It'll happen. Have you been in one of those situations yet?
Not yet. But I just can't imagine, like, I'm not sure the average cost of putting glass in. I'm sure it's expensive. But when you do basement waterproofing and you have a $10,000 job with an old lady who is going through a lot of things in her life, that is a lot of money.
Husband passed away.
Sure.
Got doctor's appointments. Now she's got a foot of water in her basement.
Yeah.
They could be crippled by that. And you have to be the key here would be empathy. You have to be empathetic. Do you know what empathy is? Because I think a lot of people confuse empathy and sympathy.
So sympathy is if you've been... So I would say this, and this is my take on it. Ready?
Yes.
So one of them's... I've never had cancer, so I can't sympathize with you, but I can empathize. I've never been there, but I can feel it for you, and maybe I'm mixing them up. And one of them's, no, I've had cancer before, and I understand what you're going through, and I'll be there emotionally with you too, maybe.
Yeah.
Am I close?
Yeah. Empathy, as the definition as I see it, is the ability to be able to see the world through your eyes. So if I'm going to have empathy with you, I don't need to like you to have empathy with you. I don't even need to agree with you. You can have empathy with a terrorist. If you're able to see the world through their eyes and articulate to them, now you're giving high-level empathy.
Yeah.
And at that point, they will trust you. If they know that you see the world through their eyes, then you are giving them empathy.
That's beautiful, yeah.
Yeah. And that's a lot of times the reason why people can't give empathy is because their pride gets in the way. They're not willing to look through their eyes to help. There's an old saying that says, seek first to understand in order to be understood. If I want to explain to you why you should be paying $80,000 for this wine cellar to keep it chilled and not sweating, but you have some other reservations, you're not going to hear all my value propositions and understand them unless I went through the exercise of understanding what it is that you're after, why you're after it first. So seek first to understand in order to be understood. Yeah. And the only way to do that is to deliver empathy. Now, there's different skills and tactics.
See, this stuff I love. Like, this is the fun part.
I'm going to give you a book when you leave here that'll change your life because it changed my life.
Yeah.
And they even have a master class on it. There's a bunch of YouTube videos, but it's actionable. Like, the second you read this, you can start applying it and it will change immediately. Yeah. With customers, your parents, coworkers, everybody. It's fucking awesome. Yeah. It's game changing. It's rooted around emotional intelligence. Okay. At a high level. Like the FBI, hostage and kidnapping negotiators use empathy because it's the best. It's the best way to be able to persuade somebody, not manipulate. Yeah. But persuade.
Fine line.
What's the difference between persuasion and manipulation?
So if I'm persuading, it's for maybe a better cause, but if I'm manipulating, it's altered intentions, maybe.
Very well said. The difference between persuasion and manipulation is intent. What is your intentions?
It's everything.
Yeah. If you have good intentions, then you're persuading them. Yeah. If you have bad intentions, you're manipulating.
Do you believe in like not vibrations and all? I don't want to get into that, but I came in here with intentions solely learned on you, and the podcast was a byproduct, and then you have a fire conversation. Yes. But if I came here with intentions to use your platform to get whatever, use you, I feel like it wouldn't go as, I don't know.
I would already know it.
Yeah.
And we would be done because I was only going to do 30 minutes. We're at an hour right now. So we wouldn't even have done this. Yeah. I truly believe, I'm telling you to your face, that you have good intentions. It was obvious to me before the first day you came in here that you were excited to learn and you wanted to learn. And this just solidified it for me.
You can feel it.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
That falls into that, the empathy, the book that I'm going to give you and the strategy. to show how to deliver empathy triggers these good that gut feeling like, man, I don't know what it is about Dylan, but I fucking like it.
Yeah.
And this is how we talk, how we communicate, and if we're able to be empathetic.
Yeah.
No, that's the highest level form of negotiation would be through empathy and getting on that same wavelength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Is there anything else before we wrap up that you'd like to, any shout outs, any charities that the company donates to or?
We gotta.
There's all good. All the charities are good. But
yeah. We definitely do a lot of stuff around the community. But I would love to, like, that's what I'm saying. Just stuff like that we didn't even get into. You know. So I would just say honestly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for having me on. I've never done a podcast. Never done anything like this. Something I've always been.
You're no
interested
longer
in.
a virgin.
Yeah. I popped my podcast.
Pop this podcast cherry. Let's go.
So, but yeah, this is awesome. Badass. If you're in the area, obviously come check you guys out because it's sweet.
If and when you start your podcast, even if it's up north, I'd love to join you. We can do it through Zoom or what have you. I have all the technology to do that. And of course, I'm going to give you my number before we leave. So cool. I want to follow your success and help in any way I can.
Heck yeah. This is awesome. I think the biggest thing I took away too is this is not just a business. It's like a brand. It's a family. And that's like the biggest thing that I want to take from here and take back home is like, this is not just come in, hey, that glass looks cool. This is like, once you're a part of this, it's special. So it's cool to have.
I appreciate that. That means a lot.
Yeah.
We work hard at it and we love everybody that works here. And I really appreciate that. It means everything to us.
Yeah.
You know, your word is your bond.
So.
Anybody that enjoyed this, please feel free to subscribe, share, and stay tuned for our next podcast. Dylan, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Awesome.